Good evening. For the Prime Minister, it's one of his biggest political victories. For Australians, it's a long-awaited financial windfall. Malcolm Turnbull has managed to get his controversial tax cuts through the Parliament and outsmarting Labor along the way. Jonathan Lee joins us now live from Canberra. Jono, this is no doubt particularly damaging for Bill Shorten.
It certainly is, Georgie. Labor really tried to delay the proceedings to debate them. The government sped them up by guillotining debate, but in the end this was about the crossbenchers who didn't want to stand in the way of the struggling families and struggling workers receiving a genuine tax cut. It is, though, the largest reform of its type in a generation. It also says a lot about our national debate that many people believe this $144 billion should instead be used to pay down our massive debt. It was a race to the finish line for the Prime Minister to pass the bill before his backers changed their minds. Last year, the government claimed it needed to raise revenue through a Medicare levy and bank tax. Now the government says it has so much money, it's cutting $144 billion from the bottom line in 3 stages over the next decade, calling it
a massive win for hard-working Australian families.
Rage spewed from early morning.
The mic's off. The mic's off, Muppet. The mic's off.
As the government rejected attempts to split its income tax plan in half, sending it straight back to the Senate.
Speaker, I move that the amendments be disagreed to.
They won't even allow a single speech from the Shadow Treasurer.
This is supposed to be one of the centrepieces of your economic plan. You don't even have the spine to debate it properly.
This is $140 billion being ripped out of essential public services, and you want to ram it through the Senate.
The government guillotining debate time and time again, keeping its legislation firmly locked in a straitjacket.
I've now been given 5 minutes after a fight, 5 minutes on a bill for $144 billion.
Overnight, it secured the 4 key votes of the One Nation Party and Centre Alliance, formerly Nick Xenophon's team, who, despite disagreeing with the tax cuts for the wealthy, won't stand in the way of money for battlers.
Those people on the lowest incomes, they are now going to get some relief.
New Senator Rex Patrick voted for it in the hope Labor will change it down the track.
Stage 3 does not come into play until 2024. That's 6 years away.
They have no idea in the next 7 years if the nation can afford this.
The government maintains it can afford it, arguing even with the tax cuts there's still more money coming into the coffers. There's also an election to win.
It is fair, it's comprehensive, it is well thought out.
When the backslapping subsides, all eyes will turn to the big business tax cut and the very same crossbenchers it needs to support it. Now, clearly Malcolm Turnbull will be crowing tonight to his party that he's the best man to lead his team to the next election. There's also a slew of by-elections coming up, don't forget, where Malcolm Turnbull will be trying to take some more skin off Bill Shorten. But Bill Shorten's in a very tough position now. He, in effect, has to campaign that his party wants to repeal this tax cut. That's not easy to sell in the lead-up to an election. Georgie.
Thank you, Jonathan Lee, live from Canberra.